Hello, wealthy women. It is another amazing, beautiful interview that I have for you today. So, today's really special because we're going to do a deep dive on health and why it's so important. And I have Dr. Laleh here, and she is amazing. Her background, her education, intelligence, the fact that she's been in major publications about just health research in all the ways that are all meant to help you live your best life. I think that this will be such an amazing interview for you to learn and to realize that there's even more that you can be doing to make your life even better. So, without further ado, I'm going to pass the camera over and please tell us all about your work, how you got, into it, how you can serve all of us women here that need to, hear what you have to say. We're all excited to have not only wealthier lives, but healthier lives, because obviously that's the number one goal. And just so interesting, your background. And I'm looking forward to getting to have the chance to share it with everybody.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. It's really is a pleasure. And number one thing I'm going to say is a saying I created a few years ago. I put it on a lunch bag when I worked at a cancer center. It says good health is true wealth. So number one thing, your biggest asset is your health. So I'm going to start with that. So I'm Dr. Laleh, also known as a food doctor. I actually was trained as a research scientist because what motivated me to do what I do today, and even before that, was that I lost my dad to cancer on my 15th birthday, and he was 49. And that's when I kind of became obsessed with cancer and disease in general. So fast forward 20 something years later, and two countries later, because I had to flee the country and the war and everything, I finally got my PhD in molecular biology of cancer. And you would think that mission was accomplished. But after many years of doing research and clinical trials, I really felt that the last image that I had of my dad was him deteriorating to the effects of chemotherapy more than even the cancer itself, and being really vulnerable. And it's not the image I wanted to have of him. I wanted to have that image when he was strong and powerful and healthy. So I shifted my focus from disease treatment to disease prevention. I did this
Yes.
part-time while I was still doing research, clinical research at an academic institution, Dartmouth College. But in 2018, I think all signs aligned, if you will, or whatever, all the things in the universe became aligned, and I actually broke free of the academia and started doing this full time. Number one thing I will tell all you wonderful women there, that's the best thing I've ever done. I never looked back. Even though I may not have made as much money initially or still do, but the actual peace of mind and doing what I love to do is worth everything there. So today, my biggest passion is to empower people to take control of their health, because if you don't, someone else will.
Yeah.
And we all have a lot more control over our health than we think we do. And my biggest mission in life is to make everyone's health everyone's priority, and empower individuals to really take control of their health by providing really transparent and honest education. And once you know and learn the why and the how, you are much more empowered to take charge of your health and your life. So that's what I'm doing today.
I love this. It's such important work, and I absolutely agree with you. In fact, I just recently ordered this great T-shirt where it has an H and a W, health, wealth, because they're both important. But health is, we all sometimes go through things where we're, all of a sudden have a situation where it all gets crystal clear what really matters.
Yep.
And when you're in that moment, it is really a opportunity to take a look and make some adjustments and so forth. So maybe you
Yep.
can share a little bit, like, for example, like if a woman wanted to come to you just to improve her overall health or learn things, you know, of course, everything that you do was motivated by your father, but you cover all aspects, like you said, of health and prevention. And so it's not, you can serve everybody. In fact, that's what your goal is, to get in front
Mm-hmm.
of it for everybody to avoid the problematic situations that can
Right.
happen down the line. So
Yeah.
if someone were coming to you because they said, okay, I want to, this is the time I want to really take care of my health. There's nothing generally wrong with me. I have nothing going on. However, I want to keep it that way. So someone that comes to you with this situation, how would you kind of start the process with them? What is your modality?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that because it I was focusing on cancer, but really truly is disease prevention. We don't want to get cancer. We don't want to get any disease. And what most people actually overlook is there are a lot of other conditions and health conditions and diseases that actually predispose us to cancer. So it's not just that. But I also realized that my calling became to help people just gain control of their health so that they don't have to deal with disease in general, whatever, cancer or other. And so, by default, it became sort of my life's purpose.
Yes.
And of course, I would say about 70% of my clients are women for many good reasons. But so what I normally like to do is I like to learn everything about a person. And my number one philosophy is that it's a unique factor. Everyone is unique. There is no two of you. There's only one of you. So a cookie cutter style doesn't work. So my number one thing is to learn everything about a person, about their genetic background, about their immune system, about their biology, about their family history, their likes and dislikes, their financial situation, where they live, who they live with, everything that's unique about you. And I take all of that into consideration to develop a plan that is based on you and it's as unique as you are. I guarantee there is no two plans are the same. I will tell you this, my process is inefficient because I spend a lot of time on each individual. I don't have an admin. I don't have an app. I don't have something automated. You get me. You work with me one on one. It isn't efficient, but I like it that way. And that's how I kind of get started. And it starts also with a baseline health questionnaire, but it's really get me taking the time to really get to know everything about you. And of course, what is your goal? What is your what would you like to achieve? It could be just like you said, general health, and that's the best time to start thinking about this because we don't want to wait till we're sick to say, oh,
Yes.
now I have a
Yes.
disaster. You want to
Yes.
prevent that. So that's all I'm about. Prevention, prevention, prevention. So even if you have a predisposition or something runs in your family, that's the time you want to really start actively thinking about it because you want to be proactive than reactive, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you even have some testings that you can do because sometimes people don't know all of their own genetics or backgrounds and so forth. So, can you talk about some of the things that you might get started with if someone were to come in and say, maybe, they came from a family where one of the parents didn't stick around and they don't actually know the history, or they just don't know, it wasn't a conversation, or they never got
Mm-hmm.
checked up before, so they might not even know some of maybe allergies they have, or or how they are. Do you have
Right.
a that kind of scenario to help kind of create the picture?
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are multiple ways I approach this approach basically. So number one is when somebody comes to me with say a particular health concern or maybe thinking about being proactive about it. Number one thing we do is say, what do you have available? Because a lot of times people go to doctors, they have a lot of tests, and I'm all about using what we have as much as possible. So I don't want you to go through, oh no, you have to do all these things of tests that I tell you. No, no such thing. If you have any kind of information that I can use, I will start with that. And oftentimes with chronic conditions, for example, with cancer, there's a lot of testing already being done. And that's pretty informative to me. For example, a woman comes with breast cancer, there could be so many different genetic variations that I can look at and use that information. It's very helpful. Now, consider if someone comes with an unsolved mystery, I call them. Something is bothering them and nobody can figure out what's going on. There's all kinds of tests run that are usual that doctors run, but they can't figure out what's going on. I call those unsolved mysteries. And those are kind of my most favorite because I get to think through this. I get to put the pieces of the puzzle together. If all of that information didn't give me the cues that I need, then I will be able to order or recommend some other tests. And oftentimes there could be tests that are available that I could just say, ask your doctor to order these. If they are not willing to do it or they don't know about it, then I can do most of those for an individual. But you'd be surprised how often people come with a folder full, whether electronically or not, of information that nobody can figure out. But the biggest thing that I love to do is to take all of these things and put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And oftentimes, 80% of the time, I can kind of get a clue about what's going on. And then there might be one test that we do to confirm that. Like you mentioned, some sort of allergy, or there are food sensitivities, for example, things that could be determined with someone's blood type, which is not very common. A lot of people don't even know their blood type in this country, which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the approach I take with that.
And I love that. And I mean, you have such a background. You have been published in many, many art magazines, research. Your background is amazing. And then, tell us a little bit more about some of the publications that you've been in. And also, I know that you work sometimes with other people in the gym setting. So you have like bodybuilding behind you, your background.
Yeah.
So tell about, brag a little right now. Tell us some of the other things.
Thank you. So, so yes, I got my PhD in molecular biology of cancer. I have a background in human genetics from college and food biochemistry. So all of those things kind of come together, believe it or not. My publications, when I was a research scientist, they're primarily focused around blood cancers because that's what I studied. Hematologic malignancies, think about, leukemia and lymphoma and multiple myeloma, and a lot of which are really, really related to your immune system, how your immune system functions. So without getting too nerdy on you here, I will say your hematopoietic system, which is basically the system in your body that makes all of your blood cells, your white blood cells, red blood cells, T cells, all of that, basically dictates how your immune system functions, which is your first line of defense against any disease. Think about that as the soldiers on the front line of a battlefield, right?
And this is what you're helping with, to get people to build their immune systems, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of where that whole prevention comes in. And I'm glad that you just spoke to this because I really wanted to emphasize to this entire audience the incredible amount of professional background that you have in education, because you are a major, researcher, doctor, you have it all. So I just want people to know that when they reach out to you, this is, they're dealing with someone who knows her stuff. So I love
Thank
this.
you. I appreciate it.
Can you tell me a little bit about the whole gym side of things and the whole bodybuilding side of things? That's a little bit, kind of like your whole world is in that whole health. And I think that's pretty
health.
Cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously it's the whole picture, right? I will admit I'm an exercise addict and I'm proud of it. I love exercising, but it's not all the whole picture. So I always tell my clients there is 15% is exercise, 85% of what you put in your body, because you can have a Lamborghini, if you put sand on it, won't go far, right?
I love that.
Yeah,
motto.
But let's face it, we all want a Lamborghini, right? Yeah, this body. So the more you really work on your body. It's really the only body you have. Think about if you had that Lamborghini, and if someone said, put sand in it, or, put the wrong oil, you wouldn't think for a second to do that, or go crash it into a wall. Your body is the only one you have. That Lamborghini, even if you crashed it, you can rent another one, you can buy one, you can borrow one, right? The body is the only one you have. So how do you treat this body is really important. And exercise is obviously not only a huge avenue to that health and wellness, but also really for your mental health as well. We all know exercise generates endorphins, any form of exercise. And endorphins are feel-good hormones, right? So not only are you doing your body good, but really your mental health. I'm also, as you said, I'm a professional and competitive bodybuilder. I'm an athletic judge. It's a funny story. I was really always a kind of person. I'm small. I'm a small person, and I'm an ectomorph. So it's like a straight kind of Rayleigh kind of person. And I always admired women who were strong looking and muscular, and they could lift and all that. And I never thought that I could be me. But there's a misconception around women bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding. So I got into it and I researched it, of course, and I got empowered by knowing that actually this is possible for me. But I was also told a lot that you can't do this naturally without, performance enhancing drugs. And I said, trust me, because that's the story of my life. If you want me to do something, tell me I can't. So I became fascinated with that. And of course, as a scientist, I always look at the science side of things. So yes, any woman, you can achieve that, shape and strength that you want in your body. And of course, it's not only important for our body image, but also building muscle is important for our musculoskeletal health, and it's very important in aging. So as we age, we want to remain strong. We want to hold on to strong muscles. We don't want to lose it. And that's the best way to do it, to incorporate strength training into. And of course, there is this whole, bias about like strength training and men, and it's a guy thing, and it's really not. In fact, it is extremely important for women to invest some good amount of time and energy into strength training. Bodybuilding is just a hobby, but it's also one thing that has taught me is that one, you love your body. You really, really get in a good relationship with your own body, and you know that you can sculpt your body. You can. Anyone can. You can shape the body that you want. You just have to work at it. But you have absolute control. And once you do that, you really love your body. And we all know in the women's world, we beat ourselves up all the time. We're our most worst critic, right? But that has taught me to really look at myself in a whole different way, and coach my athletes also the same way, that you have absolute control over your body, and you can sculpt the most beautiful body that you can have, and it's yours, and you can do it, and you can look in the mirror every single day and love yourself rather than saying, oh, I'm this or I'm that, and negative talk, right?
I love this too, because I absolutely agree with you about strength training, because I think women sometimes worry that they're going to bulk up, and that's just not the case at all. Plus, building muscle, you increase your metabolism, which allows you to burn more calories. And then I just wanted to ask you, diet. I sometimes I love to like do fitness, and I always thought, okay, I'll just do a whole bunch more fitness so I can eat what I want. It didn't always work out that well. I always thought I could make up for it with extra exercise, because I also like to exercise. Can you tell me, in your opinion, I think you were about to say something before about, exercise is about 15 to 20% of your results, but really food is such a big deal, huh? And then I'm assuming that healthy proteins and good carb, like vegetables and so forth.
Right. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Number one thing to think about is the right fuel for your body. And regardless of, who you are, what age you're, there's always thinking about what is it that you're doing, and there is a right fuel for that. So there isn't a one size fits all. There isn't a cookie cutter style. If you're a marathon runner, I would design your nutrition program in a whole different way than I would do it for a female bodybuilder,
Yeah.
or somebody who's just into fitness. But the key thing is to remember is it is not about, and this is something I always surprise people with. Somebody comes to me, are you going to give me macros? Are you going to give me all that? It's,
Yeah.
we want this to be successful. And how long are you going to keep counting macros and doing that? If you eat the right kinds of foods as Mother Nature intended, especially when the customization of it comes in, that is for your own body and your genetics,
Yeah.
you never ever diet again. You eat
Yes.
the right foods and your body is going to utilize that. It's going to be just happy because you're giving it the right fuel. Just like that Lamborghini, right?
Yes.
So
Okay. That was a great.
the key thing to remember is to not fall for all of these different fads that come and go, because guess what? None of them was how Mother Nature intended, right? Whether it be the keto diet or the Atkins diet or the low fat diet or the high fat diet, all of them, right? How many do we have? Just about as many people on the planet. If
Yes.
they were successful, they wouldn't be coming up with new ones, right?
Yeah.
The key thing is you don't have to diet if you eat the right food, right fuel for yourself all the time,
I
right?
love this. I mean, we've spent a good portion of time on this because I think it's very important. We all of us have bodies, and they are coming along with us on the entire journey of our blessed life. And we need to really, not that we have to be perfect all the time, but we need to educate ourselves. We can do better. We should want to do better. We should desire to do better. There's so many parts of our lives that we're putting all of our attention to improve upon, and sometimes we, not always, some people are fabulous at it, but sometimes we get stuck in little ruts and we're like, I'll put the health goal on for the next quarter or something. And that's great, always to have a goal. But there are some things that we can do now. And like you said, it's more like a lifestyle that fits you personally, that is not something extreme that you can't stick to. So we've all been there, done that. It doesn't work. It
Mm-hmm.
typically makes us feel worse, and we typically gain more in the big picture. But I just love this because we have kind of covered you. Basically what I wanted to share is that you can help women of all situations, whether it's just about, getting their body in some better improvement and they just want to get to know
Mm-hmm.
themselves a little bit more, to getting a little bit more specific if some little issues are showing up and they want to make it better, or, if there is a scenario that they need even a little bit more complicated help from you. You basically can cover the whole gamut.
Absolutely.
You have a very holistic approach, and your mission is to start with prevention. And it's very similar if you even compare it to people and money, like, let us not get into a crisis where we're so overwhelmed with credit card
Mm-hmm.
debts and this, that, and the other thing, that we feel like, overwhelmed. And
Exactly.
let's do some prevention. Little bit goes a long way. It doesn't have to be massive changes that are
Yeah.
hard to keep up with. It can be little steps along the way in
Right.
all parts of our life, and just to prioritize your health. That's what this is about. Wealth is health, as you said, and I absolutely agree with you. All the things that we're working so hard for, our businesses, being good family members, making a nice home, or whatever it is, all those things, that's fantastic, but the priority needs to be the health. And even if it's little things that you can start to do, what is the best website where they can reach out to kind of get information, and then we'll go into some success questions.
Absolutely. I don't know if this is available and I put in the chat, but basically our business is
Oh,
called
great.
Dynamic Natural Advantage. And you can reach out to me through our website. I also have very active on Facebook. So you can reach out to me on Facebook, either by my first name. I have a Dr. Laleh Facebook page and our business Facebook page as well. But that's pretty much our website. You can read about me and about the whole place. I work with individuals all around the world, so don't worry about where you live. I have had people in Scotland and England and Sweden that I've never met before in person. Uh,
Okay.
so that's one beautiful thing about it, that I can work with individuals from anywhere in the world. And I always offer a free initial 15-minute call because I think it's important for you to know me and for me to know you. So that's always an offer on the table.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm glad that you mentioned, I forgot to mention that you do so much of your work online. And thank you for bringing that up because
Yeah.
this is such an international audience here. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that you are able to help them no matter where they are living. So,
Absolutely.
okay, let me just get my little glasses on and see what we can do with our little success questions. I might not
Yeah.
go through all of them because I just really wanted to take the time to really talk about the
Yeah,
health part.
absolutely.
I find that, this is, very important. So, okay, well, here's one for you. Talking about empowerment, how do you start your day? What are some of the empowering routines that you have in place for yourself, aka morning routine that gets you off to a successful start that fuels you in all the right ways and helps you to be a wealthy woman?
Great question. So I start my day always with making a healthy breakfast. And then I start, the next thing is I go to my home gym and I do a pretty good routine of strength training. So there's always a form of exercise. In the summertime, I live in Vermont, so summers are short. I love to road bike. I'm a cyclist, so I get outside on the road a lot more often in the summer. But one key thing to also remember is every day, whether it be 5 minutes or half hour, regardless of the weather, I get outside.
Yes.
Always get outside. And then the last thing is 5 minutes of activation breathing. And
Oh, how do
that
you do
is,
that? Yeah.
it's different for every individual. Basically, what it is really some really belly deep breathing, focusing on that breath. But activation part of it comes in when you actually see yourself where you want to be. You
Aha, I
see
love
yourself
this.
as if it's already happened, whatever goal you have in life. Say you want to run a marathon next year. I'm just using that as an example, and you've never done it before. The activation breathing actually, you will see yourself having finished that marathon. And that is an amazing tool because as much as it doesn't sound like much, the more you see yourself where you want to be, the closer you get to where you want to be. And it's a huge mindset. And I always say, it brings abundance
So you'll
because
breathe, you take 5 minutes and you'll basically breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth.
yeah, it's the key thing is to think about a glass. If you fill the
Mm-hmm.
glass, what happens? The bottom of it fills and then it comes up, right? So think
Yeah.
about the bottom of the glass as your belly and the
Okay.
top of the glass as your chest, right? So you're going to start from the belly, bring it up, and the same way you go down. If you drink from the glass, it goes from the top to the bottom, right? So
Yeah.
imagine that and breathe that way. Glass
Ah,
full, glass empty, glass full, glass empty. You keep doing that, and it really helps you not only get the oxygen that you need to get that mental clarity, but also really get you to focus. Some people think of meditation. I can't really meditate in the same way. My brain doesn't work that way. For some people, it doesn't work. But that brings me to that state of mind that I need to start my day, basically. Envision
absolutely.
myself where I want to be.
So the whole breathing in and breathing out includes the envisioning, basically.
Yeah,
It's not,
absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely.
gotcha, gotcha.
Take
I love
5 minutes.
this.
Be in a
Okay,
quiet place.
yeah,
You can play a music if you like, if there's a song that gets you in that state of mind, and just do that. Five
perfect.
minutes.
I love it. I love this 5 minute thing because everybody can do 5 minutes, right? I
Yep,
mean, that's
exactly.
okay, ladies, that's on your to-do list because we're all about going for our dreams, but we have to imagine them before they show up, right? And get that
Right.
energy going. So, okay, let me ask you the next question. If you could only choose one answer, what is the number one way that building your business has enriched your life? And why would you recommend other women to build their business? Can it bring for them?
A personal connection,
Mm-hmm.
building relationship with people. That is the most powerful way that I have found is either building your business from ground up or growing it. because I believe that, you know, word of mouth, that relationship that you built with people is the strongest testimonial you can give someone
Yeah.
than any marketing or any sales strategy. But especially with women, I think empowering women is really important because, you know, we've always been on the back burner when it comes to careers and businesses and, you know, all of that. And believe it or not, do they say behind every successful man there is a more successful woman or something? I'm probably messing it up, but there always is, right? So I think it's really important for women to connect and build relationship with other people. And there's one thing I'd like to add is if you're in a room where you're the smartest person, you're in the wrong room,
Yes. Love
right?
that.
You
Yes,
want to be in a room
absolutely.
where you learn from other people.
Where you're
So basically,
challenged.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
You know, it's funny. I was just doing a lot of content writing yesterday, and you know, I'm all this about money mindset, coaching, empowerment for women. And I just had this like flash because I was doing so much of it. I'm like, you know, we women need that. We want that. It helps us. And then, but then I had the thought, well, what, you know, I know why, but you know, it was like all of a sudden I was like, men don't really do that. You know,
Hmm.
we women do this and we need this. And I realized, you know, it's kind of what you just said. The arena that we've been in as empowered business owners making our own way, it has not been that long in history. And
Yeah, it's
so
pretty new.
exactly. So men have grown up with a whole different expectation. They just own it because they were never told that's not who they are.
But
You know,
that's
that's
what
not,
they're told. Exactly.
yes.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's why they don't have to do necessarily all these manifesting rituals or mindset work and all the things because we have to catch up because we have been so, you know, just the way we have evolved, the
Right.
upbringing, we have not been conditioned with this, and we want to make strides quickly. We don't want to take forever for evolution to catch up for women in the
Right.
workplace, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
that manifesting, those mindfulness exercises, all the things that, you know, men, maybe not all men really understand, they don't have to understand it. You know why we do this, women? We do this so we can propel ourselves quickly and just, you know,
Hmm.
get in front of time and space basically
Right.
because we have our passions, we have our missions, we have our desires, and we know we can serve, and we have that fuel of these mindset
Hmm.
rituals and these being surrounded by other women, seeing other women do it. All of these things are so important for us because we are, you know, making the evolution happen a lot quicker, right, for
Exactly.
ourselves. So, yeah. So, thank you for sharing that because it is very true. Because I had to say, wow, we really are focusing a lot on all of this mindfulness stuff, but it is everything. It's our vitamin, basically.
It
It's
is.
how we wear our superwoman cape. You know, it's necessary.
Yeah.
So, the more you can empower yourself with mindset, meditations, active breathing, whatever
Right.
it is so important because have so much potential to serve and go
Yeah.
for our dreams and be blessings in this world in such gigantic ways that, you know,
Yeah.
that's kind of like that mental exercise, right? Mental health. So,
Yep.
okay, perfect. Um, in the beginning, because you know, a lot of women want to know two things, I guess I have. How did you originally market your, you know, your own personal business? And then how did you get comfortable with being visible on camera? Because these are two things that come up for a lot of women. There's so many different ways to market. How do I do that? And then also, I don't necessarily feel so comfortable on camera. How do I grow that
Hmm.
confidence? So,
Absolutely. So the biggest, the best marketing strategy, because I'm not a marketing person, so the biggest thing that's worked for me has been networking.
mm,
And a simple thing that I did, which was one of the biggest, best return on investment on my business I've ever done, was called BNI, Business Networking International. And it's the largest networking organization in the world. And that was a small investment for a huge return on that investment. And it comes to networking. You just meet with the like-minded people and you basically train your very own marketing team every week to market for you. And it's, again, that relationship. It comes on that relationship with people. And being on camera, and that is definitely something that's a challenge for a lot of us. I came from a background where in research, you have to get in front of people on the stage of people who are going to criticize your research, question everything you have, and report, twice a year. And so I was kind of already there, but camera is a whole different thing. But for me, the mindset had to shift because I was all about data and facts. When I got in front of people, whether it be in person or, I had to learn to shift my mindset that not everyone in the world wants to know the data. They want to know my story.
Yes.
And every person has a story.
Yeah.
And I think about what your story is that empowers you and nurture that. And get into the storytelling. Once you start telling your story, you don't have to worry about what am I going to look on camera, or what am I going to say, or remember what I'm going to say. None of that matters because you know your story better than anyone else in this world. So when you speak from the heart, it all just goes right into place. Just tell your story. So number one thing, when you get in front of the camera, you have a story for why you are where you are and why you do what you do. So tell your story. It's powerful. And
I love that.
Being in front of the camera, it's always going to be a little bit of nerve-wracking. You always get butterflies but my advice is get on as many stages as possible. Get on people's podcasts, get on people's stages. You have something to offer to the world that nobody else does. And somebody is going to need you. Somebody needs you out there. So just get on as many stages as you can and share your story. And
I love that. I love this, especially because this is also what always hits me. It's like, it's not about me. I have the chance to serve and potentially help one person, even if it's just one person, then it's all worth it. And so when you start to realize that you don't have to, it's your story that you share to relate, to connect, but in a genuine, authentic way.
Exactly.
And when you realize that, yes, it is your story, but the whole point is making that connection to help serve, then you really do easily get out of your way. This whole idea of stage fright is gone. And it was nothing that you had to really work on to build up the confidence. As soon as you realize you're doing it for another person, you get out of your own way. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So then maybe that's kind of the same thing. Whenever you have any kind of fear or doubt, like not about visibility, but in general, anything, starting something new, moving to a new place, letting go of a relationship, starting a new relationship. When the fear and the doubt come in, do you have a way that you try and process that to get some clarity when you're in the muddle, when you can't figure it out?
Yeah. So there is a saying that says, a pessimist will see a difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist will see an opportunity in every difficulty. So I always say everything in life happens for a reason, and oftentimes for a good reason. So whenever you are faced with doubt or fear of anything and something new, fear of the unknown, the next phase, I want you to think about that as an opportunity to grow. Everything in life that happens is an opportunity to grow. Even when you feel that everything is coming your way as if you're like a target and all the darts are coming your way, right? But think about that. That is an opportunity for you to grow. So even if it's the hardest time you're having with anything or the biggest fear of a change, it's always opportunity to grow. And if you want to change, you have to change, right? If you do the same thing, nothing is going to change, right? So if you want some change, and hopefully in a positive way, improvement in your life, you have to change something, and change is never easy. But you have to think of that change as an opportunity for growth. And when you have that mindset, you put that fear or worry or anxiety aside because it's an opportunity, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I love that because we all have those moments where we're
of
just,
course.
oh, and sometimes we have to take a nap or a day off or just,
Keep on
recollect
it.
ourselves,
Right, right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's okay. And then sometimes you can only do a little bit. It could be the smallest little thing, maybe even just 5 minutes of activation breathing or stretching or straightening up the kitchen, whatever, or walking in nature, like you said.
Right.
Being
Yeah.
outside for 5 minutes. Whenever you're in a funk, allow yourself to experience a little bit. Just
Hmm.
don't get stuck, and then start to make small little steps. So you start to build that power back, and then you get into that, focus. Okay, there's the opportunity here. Why is this isn't happening to me, it's happening
Happening
for me,
for me. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And you have to look for it because to all of you women out there, really, we've all had things happen, all of us. And so, you know, and there's a lot of hard things, of course, but if you try and find a way, I always like this. My coach said this, and it really stuck with me. This isn't happening to me, it's happening for
For
me. And as
exactly.
soon as you change that, then your mind will naturally start to look for different ways it has actually improved your life, even a really hard time.
Yeah.
If you look, you will find that there is a silver lining. There was something that, needed a shift. Now, I'm not talking about the heavier stuff in life. That is not what I'm talking about at that moment, although I'm sure that there are ways to stay positive about it. But in the general sense, when we're just in the ugh moments, you have to re readjust your thinking and
Hmm.
focus, right?
Yeah.
So my very last question is, um, what has been for you the biggest victory that you have achieved in your business so far,
Ah, victory. I
or a
think
milestone,
it's hard to say. As far as the business, my biggest
or life? Yeah,
milestone
you could say your
or
life.
life success, I think it is when I actually watch somebody reach that state of mind where they're healthy or where they feel like they take control of their life, and that by taking control of their health, I think that is the biggest victory to me, because in a small way, if I have played a role in that, that's what matters. It's not much of a biggest like victory for me, but I have a line that I always say about a client of mine. She was given 3 months to live with a very, very rare type of cancer. And she was very down, and she decided to completely stop all modern medicine interventions and take the lifestyle route. About, you know, 6 months or a year or so, close to a year later, obviously she was told that, well, this has nothing to do with what you did and whatever. But one thing that she said was, when I was given 3 months to live, Laleh gave my life back.
Oh,
I didn't give her life back. What I did was I gave her a map. I gave her a direction. Um, I put her in the driver's seat and gave her the steering wheel. But she took that steering wheel and drove to her destination. And that is one of the biggest victory points in my life, because Gail, and I'm able to tell her name because she shared her story many places, was given 3 months to live, and she lived 7.5 years out of that after that.
wow, wow.
So that is, to me, is a victory for me.
That's why you do what you do. That's
Exactly.
that's everything. That is the everything. That is powerful. That's really powerful. So I have just truly, I'm so thankful for this beautiful interview. We
Thank
really
you.
got into deep things that are so important because health is everything. And if you have the opportunity, and you do have the opportunity every single day to make improvements, that's what this whole thing is about, so that you can all have more beautiful lives. All the things that you're working on will just be heightened to even better when your health is, better, that you're doing things for your health. So please reach out. Go ahead and say your website one more time before we close out.
Yes, it is dynamicnaturaladvantage.com. And you can look me on Facebook too. It's Dr. Laleh, which is Laleh, or with my first name. So any way you can contact me, and I'm happy to get in touch with you.
Well, thank you so very much for sharing. Yeah. This is a very important interview, and it's all about health, because health is the ultimate wealth. So I want to thank you for sharing your insights.
I want to share two things with everyone.
Absolutely.
Everyone who is listening to this later, say this with me. I am the most important person in my life. And number two, my health is my most valuable asset. Say this to yourself every single day.
Love it. Write it down, put it up on the mirrors, carry it in your wallet. Absolutely. I love it. It's everything. Thank you so much. And okay, wealthy women. I mean, is this a powerful interview or what? I mean, it's everything, really. So go take better care of your health. Start today, tomorrow. Don't put it off. Little steps along the way. Reach out for help and guidance. And the whole point is to have these beautiful, amazing lives. And we have to make sure that it's a holistic approach, and that we're balancing as best as possible all parts of our life, and our health needs to be the number one priority. So until next Wednesday, I will see you then. So have a great day and keep going for your dreams. Bye for now.